Yeah. We're live, yay! Alright. Got a lot of things to talk about tonight. Welcome everybody, whoever is already here. We got one guy already. We got 2 thumbs ups. So we're talking. Let me know if you guys can hear me. New mic, new camera setup. So we got some pieces for you guys tonight. Hybrid Killer is somewhere over here. He's right there.
Hi, y'all.
You guys might want to listen to him because he's the guy that kills it all the time when it comes to hybrids and stripers. So, got a lot of stuff to talk about. I know this is one of the main reasons for doing this tonight is we're trying to get prepped ourselves for the new year. A lot of striper goals this year, so gotta clean out the tackle boxes because our tackle boxes are so filled. There's so much bass stuff in there, but this year's gonna be different because we're not too into the bass stuff this year, and we're gonna go hard on the striper stuff because got some striper goals that we did not meet this year.
Okay, let's say.
What is that? Well, this side? I'll go on this side.
Yeah.
How do you like the camera, though? I think the camera is a little better than the webcam in your house. But I don't know if the internet's going to be as good. See it?
This is yours.
Yeah.
You want to make easy swimmers that big?
No. I mean, that's a Kitech swimmer. It's like a 7-inch swimmer. Oh. And this is the other one. This is the 8-inch. Impact fat. Mm-hmm. This is the gambler. 8-inch. Easy. Ooh, I bought this like 3 years ago. I haven't even used it. That's why we're gonna talk about it tonight. So yeah, we actually got 6 people on right now.
Hey, David.
Loud and clear. David Chain's already on. That guy was here last week, so he is. No, not last week. He was here. Yeah, it was last week and Tuesday. I think it was on Tuesday. So yeah, that's what we're gonna talk. Yeah, I was kind of hoping he was gonna bring that. So this show is gonna be striper focused, and we're gonna do. We could talk rods and reels too, but that's gonna be towards the end. Okay, so we're gonna try to keep the show to an hour and a half. Okay, so
we got little kids trying to come in.
We got little kids trying to come in too, but we're gonna try to keep the show to an hour and a half. I always say that, but it always goes 2 hours, 2 hours plus. But try to keep it an hour and a half, and then we're just gonna talk mainly lures today because we're doing our top 5 and crazy stories. I'm sure we got the stories too. But he's got his top 5. I got my top 5. So we're gonna just go talk about it. So we're talking stripers and hybrids though for the entire year. We're not gonna say only in the spring, only in the summer, only in the fall, or only in the winter. We're just gonna say the whole year, right? Because I don't know, like who is available to fish right now? Hardly anybody, because some guys up north it's iced over. The guys in Texas it's getting pretty cold. Oklahoma's kind of frozen today, so basically just here to talk right now. All right, and let's get started. Okay, so I'm gonna start with a more traditional lineup, and then I'm just gonna go immediately into all like kind of like a wish kind of lures, stuff that I know work. But we just haven't thrown, and you guys are bound to see it this year, okay? So for me, this is one like UC47. I was trying to get 47 come on today, but he's busy. So this is the Ima Little Stick. This is all stock. This is how it looks. It's got some cute hooks on it. Stripers will definitely mess this guy up. But anyways, get one of these, load it up, upgrade all the hooks. And it's one of those lures that will help you cast over 100 yards if loaded to like 2.5 ounces.
I think they pushed like
3 ounces. So keep it simple. Chrome and white. Yeah, but just don't hit a wall with it because I had it hit a wall and it snapped. Actually snapped right in the middle. It's actually not good, but definitely Topwater. You guys know this channel. This channel basically blew up on Topwater. So Topwater will never leave our side. All right, go. Where do you go?
Of course, all those Swimbait lake trip won't be successful without this one. Still has lines on it.
We're talking about lures he can't even buy in the stores.
He's
half the
been
time.
like discontinued.
So this is, if you guys are watching this episode, it's a good episode. It'll open your mind a little bit towards the world of stripers. So look at that.
GT Middle by Braid. This guy is 2 ounces, and it with a good cast, it flies like a rocket. It will
I
float.
think it was a 3 ounce.
No, this is a 2 ounce.
Two and a half. Maybe.
So this one floats, and for a lure being this big and this heavy, you think it's gonna sink, but it floats.
It's a tuna lure.
Yeah, it's a
Right?
GT lure. This one is
Yeah,
GT Minnow.
A GT, yeah.
So it's built for like
it's a big fish lure.
giant trevallies, tuna. They got line through. I mean, we got these cracked in half, and there's a line there, and you just super glue it, and then you put a vise on both sides like this, and then you push it back together.
If you have no idea what we're talking about, go back in the playlist and just keep going. And you think you got far enough, keep going, because that was one of the for what it was 1 year we did nothing but that. Yeah, crazy. Just
I mean, this one isn't.
You have to throw it on a surf rock. Okay?
This one is in great shape. Actually.
That's actually in perfect shape compared to all the other ones.
I mean, little hook rashes here and there, but
yeah,
it's in really good shape.
Yeah, the thing I really like about this one is when you fish it early in the morning, it's got the bottom, the chartreuse bottom. For some reason, the fish bites it a lot better. I don't know what it is. There's like 2 trips that happened like that already. Like we fished one that was completely like destroyed and didn't have a green bottom, and we had one that was looking like that, and that one get bit every time, and we didn't know why. So we just kept on thinking this is a chartreuse bottom. So chartreuse bottom is a big, in terms of colors, chartreuse is a good color for stripers too. And the guy that said bucktail did not make the list. It did not make the list.
They're good.
They're good, but they did not make the list. All right. Number 2. You guys know me. I throw big spoons. These are magnum spoons. Most people will consider this one a big spoon. This is a 4.5 inch, and this is a full 8. Oh, my nephew's trying to come into the house. To come in the room. But this is this one is no stranger to the striper game. Though I haven't caught one on it yet. Caught a big catfish one time, but I'm due for one, right?
We don't put enough time into it.
We don't put enough time into it because this one you have to find the right school. If the school is not right, you throw this in there, they will just run off. It's so big. Okay? You have an idea how big this sucker is? A lot of people think this is big, right? This is what I got, 5.5. I'm gonna put it against this guy. Okay? It shows you what we're into, right? River to Sea. This one's pretty legit.
The big one, huh?
This is the big one. River to Sea. It comes with a beefy ass hook on it too. Look at that. This is like striper rated already. This spoon is it's good to go. And the cool thing about these spoons is like you basically let them go on the slack line. They kind of do this and then they rip it and they kind of fall back down. It imitates like an injured fish. And you guys seen the videos. When I throw them on Skycheck Lake for hybrids, they were biting the 6-inch. Like an 18-inch hybrid will eat a spoon bigger than this. And then once in a while they'll touch this, but those hybrids, you have to get them to like 24 inches to touch this. This basically imitates like river herring, gizzard shad, maybe even a white bass, possibly. So, it's a big lure. It's even got stinger hooks in front too. So that's pretty legit. Like that. Basically, if you're gonna throw this on a rod, you better throw it on like at least a 7.5 Swimbait rod with at least 20-pound fluorocarbon on there, or I would say 65-pound braid, right? Something like that. Yeah.
All right.
Next
is the Trans Shoe. Always catches the biggest striper ever. It is the Bomber. See that? And then its cousin, the Crystal Minnow by Missouri.
Yo, Missouri Crystal.
These are like nighttime, like fanatics. Yeah, these are favorites for nighttime.
Yeah.
This is I think the 94 SV or something like that. This is the biggest, one of the biggest.
That's the
size.
Magnum Crystal Minnow.
Yeah, this is the Magnum Crystal Minnow. And these are floaters.
High float.
And that's a 16A bomber.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Jet.
Come on in.
Oh, we play.
Ah,
We play.
itu tu lah je.
Jadi normal.
Yeah, I mean, personal best twice on this guy.
Yeah.
Up in Massachusetts, caught like a 40-incher on this guy, right around 25 pounds. And then in Oklahoma, another 40-incher on this guy. So
It's
tried
and true. It has now become like a staple. Okay, it's a staple. Oh yeah, by the way, these only work at night, right? For the most part.
Yeah.
Like during the day, it doesn't do as good.
Yeah, mainly night fishing.
Nighttime cranking.
And then, of course, you have the little jointed one right here.
That's the magic. In Oklahoma, if you can find this one, especially the one that's not the clear plastic one, the white one, the white plastic one.
This is a
It's
vintage
money.
one right here.
It's money. Yeah, it's money. Get it. This is my all-time favorite.
The 15A
15
jointed.
jointed. Yeah. It's the chrome one. The chrome one that's got like a painted bill. That's the done deal right there.
Yep.
All right, so I'm guessing you guys could already predict half that stuff because you've seen it before, but this one's gonna be a little different. But it's still kind of conventional. It's a topwater bait, but we're getting into like the more exotic stuff right now. So this is a custom-made wood lure. I have two of these. I don't even know what the other one's at. But these are custom made. I forgot the guy who makes them, but it is a big. If you guys know the term lunker plunker,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's basically a lunker plunker. It's made out of wood, but this one's after the lunker plunker from Black Dog Baits was discontinued. A lot of people try to find that exact bait, and the prices on those baits went over $100 probably. Right, so it opened up a market to the other custom wood builders. And I was following this one guy on Instagram, and he only drops these every once in a while. And I was kind of following. All of a sudden, he was like, "We're gonna drop some gizzard shad patterns," and I was just like, "If you drop them, I'm buying." So he dropped it. I happened to just see it that night. I think I saw it maybe 15 minutes after he posted it. I went on his website and I bought two. So I spent like $130 on these, and this one hasn't even touched the water yet. But come this year, we're gonna catch a stripe on
It's
this.
collecting dust.
It's been collecting dirt, man. That's the thing, and we got a tiny clash up there too, which is these are the exotic lures, okay, that we've collected and we've never thrown. But his time sitting on the bench is over. He's gonna be a starter. He's gonna be a major player now. But look at the detail of this thing. That's the whole other thing why we don't want to throw it half the time too. Because after you throw it, it will never look the same again. It looks so cool like this. I don't know if the camera's picking all that up, but it looks so cool. Like it actually looks like a real fish too. I think these hooks are kind of weak sauce. We have to get some
Yeah, you
hooks
need
on it.
better hooks on those.
Yeah, but they're almost like touching each other. I could probably upgrade a little bit, but yeah, better hooks on that. Better hooks up here. Yeah, I'll probably take this tail feather off. I'll put a bigger one on it, but. We're going with big baits, guys. Big baits this year. Something we've always wanted to do, but we keep talking about it. We never actually go out there and do it.
So another one that I like. Where's my other one?
Yeah, thumbs up the video too, guys.
So this is actually Connery's.
Oh yeah, this is for later.
But I do throw these swim baits, 6 and 8 inch. Doesn't have to be this like little creeper guy, but even the Kitex and any big swim bait, even like Stashy Shad, but regular weedless like this, and you crawl the rocks, man, those are killers. At night too. Those are
Slow
killers.
rolling at night is good.
Yep.
But just make sure you have a big line, big rod to drive that hook, because that hook that's the owner beast too.
Yeah, I'm throwing these on my surf rod. So.
Yeah, like
Or
I've
at least
lost a
big
lot
swim
of
bait.
fish on this because your rod's not stiff enough to drive.
Yes, the mag draft, like the freestyle are killers.
I have a mag
You
draft
have them
somewhere. I
somewhere?
don't have it in front of me. But
We just
give me a
threw
second.
these together. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah, but nobody could find mag drafts right now. Seems like they're out of stock everywhere. So Yeah, mag draft is definitely
just a big swim bait.
It's a giant swim bait, but it just looks pretty fancy, and there's a lot of good feedback on it, which is a good thing too. A lot of people love it. You've caught a couple of good fish in mag draft, right?
Yeah. A couple, not much. I don't have enough time throwing it.
You just don't have enough time throwing it because we're fishing tournaments half the time, and you can't be taking risky stuff or stuff you're not super confident with.
Yeah. I mean, we want to throw like these HUDs, you know. Probably throw some HUDs for some striper this year.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing too. That's a Huddleston.
Yeah, I bought a bunch of these Huddlestons too.
I have a whole box of them, basically.
Yeah.
All right, so big swim baits, right?
Yeah, just a big swim bait.
Just a big swim bait. That's what he wants. Okay. I don't know if you guys saw this one coming or not, but the glide bait. The glide bait is one of those baits where nobody talks about it for specifically for stripers, right? But if you're on Swimbait Universe and all those other forums and groups, they be posted up like trash fish. They call it trash fish, but they be catching giant stripers, right?
Yeah.
Because they're throwing it for large mouths, and they'll be like, "Oh, swing into one. Oh, it took off. Oh, that's not a bass. That's definitely not a bass." And they pull like 30-pound stripers, and that's all on glide baits. But I'm not throwing a Depths 250. That's too much for a.
I do have one of those.
I have one somewhere outside. Yeah, that's the thing. Our Depths, I think we need to go find it, but this is a very affordable one. It is just the Arashi Glide.
Yep, that and this.
Yeah. Arashi Glide and the River to Sea. This is actually pretty perfect size for like a 30 to 40 inch striper. It's probably perfect size.
Let's see those hooks.
Yeah, that shows you how much we fish these. This one's so shiny. It's only been tied on one time and maybe thrown in the water one time. It doesn't even have any hook rashes yet. You know? But definitely something like this because not a lot of people talk about it. You know, a lot of people talk about it. Everyone talks like throw umbrella rigs, throw A-rigs. And of course, that's like striper candy. But it works at a certain point, and I think it doesn't work very well after that. Because I know that the A-rig doesn't work that well at night. Like, you've thrown it a lot at night, and it seems like at night they prefer something like this. I think something more like this, like something more slower moving, things like that. Okay. Yeah. Speaking of that, you skip the HUD guy, throw the Savage Gear Pulse Tail Trap. I'm looking into that too, and we still gotta hook up somehow and go after some big stripers and bull shoals. So let me know. Let me know if you're down for that. We'll bring the boat out and we'll do some maybe like an all-nighter or something. Well, that's gonna be up there. That's for sure. For sure. Because like I said, there's too many videos. There's too many oops. I didn't want to catch that fish moments, and they'd be catching like big stripers and big walleyes and big pike. If you guys like pike, so yeah, the glide bait. I'm doing this cheap because I don't have confidence in like a $60 bait yet. So we're starting cheap. This is like a $35 lure. I think I can get it for like 26 with my discount. Yeah. So it's like 26. I get it directly from Rapala. Might want to change the hooks out, but for the most part, it's not bad. It's a good starting point, you know. So yeah, glide bait. Get a whole bunch of these, but this is probably a good starting point. Okay.
Yep. And what is this?
Dang, Pop. You got bust off spinnerbait.
Spinnerbait with you can put like a fluke trailer or anything, or just a skirt.
Yeah.
You know.
You need a beefy one.
These are like 1 ounce spinnerbait. You could throw like 1.5 ounces. You could slow roll these deep. Make sure you have a Colorado blade for the thumb. These works in cold water.
Good. It works really good in January?
Yeah.
January, February works really good.
Like in the middle of winter, targeting striper and zippers, like deep holes, or like creek channel swings. These works great.
Yeah. Because I've actually caught a couple, kind of by accident. There was one trip it was actually during a catching cook we did like two years ago. Mm-hmm. And we went out trying to catch just basically anything. And I don't throw spinnerbait, so I decided to just practice that day. I threw that, and I was catching nothing but stripers.
That's the day I was throwing S-wavers.
Yeah, that was the day he was throwing S-wavers, and I was throwing spinnerbaits. So it was a 1 ounce spinnerbait. with a Kitech.
It was one of these.
Yeah, it was actually one of these. Yeah, this is one. The only downside is the little wire here is a little weak sauce for stripers. I mean, honest, it's a little weak sauce. So
You just can't horse it. Yeah.
You just can't horse them. You have to be very, very gentle with them. Unless this, like I said, this one's the one from Booyah. It's one of the Jason Christie ones he designed for bass fishing. But if you get into this, I recommend you to go buy the Nichols.
This one?
Yeah, this is the one from Nichols. It's got a bigger wire on it, and you can just order it just like that. Yeah, you can order it just like that without the blade, or maybe we can even with the blade, and it comes to you just like that, and it's got a much better hook on it also. So this one you can horse stripers a little more, but still they just messed it up because this little point here it's gonna break sooner or later. But I believe the Nichols is a little bit better. But if you don't have one, if you have to go buy one from the store, the 1 ounce is pretty good, and this is a 1 ounce, so it's more like 1 1/4. Both really good options. Just put a Swimbait trailer on it, and caught them pretty good that one trip. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Put a trailer hook on it too, because sometimes they don't hook up very well. Yeah, Spinnerbait, huh? All right. Coming down to my last one. Then we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. But we're 20 minutes in, and this is one that I've caught a lot of stripers on, but something was always just a little bit off, and that something is a chatterbait, right? This is a chatterbait. Stripers love it in the muddy waters of the Arkansas River. Anywhere you go, the chatterbait is going to be hard to beat. But this is not your regular chatterbait. This is not a jackhammer. It's not a regular chatterbait. This is the big blade. It just came out. This is what 3 months into it since it was released. This is the big blade. So I haven't even tried it yet, but it was designed by this one guy, Brian Thrift, who's like probably the number 1 or number 2 guy in the world of chatterbaits, and he wanted a real loud like thump on the chatterbait, and exactly how I felt too. Like I felt like the when I was throwing a jackhammer, which is probably the loudest chatterbait out there, I still wanted more like vibrations. I wanted more. And when he announced that he was going to do a 1 ouncer, or not 1 ouncer, a big blade, I was just like, man, the stripers are going to get smoked on this. The northern pike, if you guys fish up north, they'll get smoked on this. And it even comes with a hook right here that I think is probably going to be good enough for stripers. You can see it. It's going to be good enough for stripers. All the other hooks, I feel like they weren't going to be good enough. The only downside of this is they got like a really cheap really cheap snap on it. So you need to upgrade that to one of the Mustad Fast Tech ones. And I think it's gonna be real good. Of course, it's gonna be thrown on like probably 20-pound fluorocarbon and Swimbait rod again of some kind, because this is only I think it's a 5/8, but I think the key weight would probably be 3/4. Probably 3/4 to keep it down. And obviously, you got the big old 6-inch Kitech on the back. Trimming the skirt up a little bit. But I think it's a winner. I think it'd be great. I have confidence in it. I haven't even thrown it yet, and I have confidence in it. Yep.
All right. Well, come down to the last. It has to be these. Our channel grew up on T10s and T20s.
Oh yeah, the T10 and the T20. I mean, it's just a lure no one talks about. It catches them. Like I don't know what it is. I think it's because the acid sits in the water a lot. So when you work it, it goes forward and then it sits. It goes forward and then sits. It's like a secondary action.
I got it.
There you go. T20s.
These are modded though. This one's modded, and this one's modded too.
Yep.
You guys can see all those BBs in there.
That's not stock.
Most guys, they load it backwards, and then it becomes like a pencil popper kind of deal. And they take that hook and put it in the nose, and then you tie up here, so you can throw farther because there's more weight in the back. Mm-hmm. But I just wanted to do it this way.
Show everybody.
Yeah. I mean, if you're just fishing for a striper and you want to get out there but have a small presentation, that is the one to go to. And your Bass Pro Shop carry these, and your Tackle Warehouse carry these now too. So
do that?
Yeah.
Oh, so they're probably like $10 though, right?
No, they're like seven.
So
kind of affordable.
Yeah, Rebel makes some pretty good lures. Sometimes their hooks are just crap, so when you buy them, you just gotta change the hooks out. But yeah, it's pretty good though. I mean, that's what I like. Okay, so this is something that I also know it's gotta work. It's gotta work, but I just don't throw it enough. It kind of falls into the Huddleston category. That's the big baits, but it's not. It can't cost $25 because we're gonna lose them a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a Kitech. I think it's a 7 or 8 inch easy shiner, rigged on Owner Beast 10-aught hook. Owner Beast. You can see that. But it's pretty stout. Like I had it rigged up for Singer Lake one time. Went out there, we threw it around a little bit, but we just couldn't like dedicate too much time to it because the Y was going crazy. So there's that. There's this guy. These are the Kitech 8-inch Swimbaits. I threw it one time at Wetumpka, but this is the fat version. And just give you guys a side profile. It's even bigger, right? It's even bigger. Like looking like that, and then you look up and down, it's giant. But the thing is, we fish from the north. We're from New England, so this is actually a small bait.
Yeah,
this is actually a small bait for stripers. Remember, like when we was catching that river herring, they're all like 12, 14 inches. You put like a giant hook on it, you throw it out there, it's huge.
They smoke it,
and they smoke it like a 24-inch striper smokes a 12-inch herring. You know, so this is actually. It's actually a small bait if you really think about it compared to what we've had experience with. So it's actually a pretty small bait. Like I have a lot of confidence that it'll get smoked. Like no problems getting smoked. The other one I can't show them this.
The other one is the Gambler Easy Swimmer. Ooh, it smells.
Dang, smells like squid. But yeah, this is the other one that I feel is actually really good. The Kitech's got a real wide, like a real smooth kind of like feel. This one's got more like a twitchy, like
rollish.
Yeah, it's like a rollish kind of twitchy feel. But regardless, it's giant. It's like 8-inch, and you could probably just put a jig in on it, cut the head off a little bit, put a jig in on it, just throw it out and slow roll it on the bottom. Like sandy points or whatever. I think it'll get smoked too, but we just, like I said, we just don't have enough time to really pursue this because I bought these off of Tackle Warehouse when they were on clearance because I guess this was originally designed for like the Tennessee River ledge fishing. They're going after those big largemouths out there, but I don't know. I figured we just repurpose it for stripers. But I like the white one. The white one's really good too. The little white 4-inch one's really good. But I bought the 8 just for shits and giggles, but it'll work. It'll work. All right, show them yours. You got any left? Any more?
I mean, we already went through our top 5, but
You want to do honorable mention?
Oh, honorable mention? That's easy.
Honorable mention?
Of course, everybody in California will testify for me. Of course, your Mega Bass.
You gonna throw a Mega Bass for a striper?
Hey, them aqueducts guys.
The aqueduct guys, right?
In California, they're like, Mega Bass versus everything. And then, just a regular, this is a cheap one, Headhunter one.
Headhunter.
But you can't beat this white color for some reason for striper. So, you can throw these at night.
Somebody was talking about Headhunters. Headhunters are really good. Tang was talking about headbangers. I haven't tried headbangers, but this is a Headhunter brand. I think this company used to make these Mega Bass duplicates for a Lucky Strike, and then Lucky Strike went to somebody else, and then they just continued. But they make the best replica that I can tell.
Loaded cotton cordels. Loaded cotton cordels are good too.
It works too. They work too. They work very well too.
I I mean, anything loaded will work. It's just how durable are they? If you hit something with it.
Yep. So Tony is 15 minutes late. Put something in the rotation. 11-inch king. Yep. Mo Swimbaiter. He's always slinging the big baits. I pay attention to his Instagram. Always doing some good. Put it this way, he put in good work. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Let's see.
What size hooks are you guys using?
Yeah, you gotta be more specific.
Well, then we change the size hooks we usually use on most of these big baits are like at least a 1/0, and then it goes on from there.
Yeah, so something like this, like a 1/0.
Yeah,
this is probably short shank.
Or 4X strong.
This
like
one, the IMAs, I think
4X.
we're throwing size 2s, but EWG size 2. And just kind of whatever feels right, whatever looks good on the bait. Like, see how that looks good? But if it's on a bait that's only this long, it doesn't look good anymore. You know? So it kind of make your hooks look kind of natural too. Like I feel like, see how this one's it feels a little small. Yeah, to me it looks a little small.
But it'll be okay because it's in the head. It needs to wobble. So.
See how this one just looks right? That one looks right. Whereas this one looks small. You know?
Pretty much just go with the biggest hook you can get away with.
Yeah. So rule of thumb is you take these hooks and you kind of just want to see if they can touch, right? Like, you know how this one barely touches? Well, go to the next size, right? And make sure they just don't tangle. If they don't tangle, you're good. Put those on.
Short shanks too.
Yeah, you can do short shanks. You can do EWGs with one of the hooks that bend in, and you can actually go up another size too. All right.
Does the green light help?
Does the green light help? You're talking about the crappie fishing light? Yeah, it does. It really does. Okay, so now that we've gone through the lures, right? Story time. This, I think, is the reason why most of the people are here anyway. Story time. We got 32 people watching, but we only got 8 thumbs up. So everybody would thumb me up, okay? So, Texoma, this is maybe 10 years ago, right? So it's not recent, right? Took the John boat out there, took the Stella, the little Stella, took her out there, and we beached the Stella overnight, right? And then Captain Hook wanted to go fishing real bad one night, even though we had skunked pretty much the whole day before. So we had a little, if you pay attention to a little John boat, there's a little light that is like you can flex it, you can aim forward or you can aim down. So I had the bright idea of going out there, and we had a bunch of minnows too, by the way, on near the bank. Heard a rumor saying that, like, if you shine lights in the water at night, it attracts bait fish, right? Now, we had done that before with crappie, because we do crappie fishing a lot. You take the actual, you take those propane lamps and you just put it right next to the water, and, within like 10 foot, it actually shines pretty good, and you can throw your crappie baits. You throw like minnows out there, and it works pretty good. But in this case, we did it with striper. So we basically let the boat drift off to about 5 foot of water, and then there's like this little drop off that goes to like 7. And I anchored down. I literally threw the anchor down, and then I just turned my headlight down. That's all I did. So now we're shining a light into like 5 foot of water. And in about 30 minutes, there's a bunch of minnows. If you go to Texoma, it is the best freshwater striper fishery in the world. Like, probably is. It's infested with stripers. Stripers, like, they're this size out to like that size. No one talks about giant stripers on Texoma, but they just talk about limits. Like, that lake puts out limits every day. And it feels like there's more stripers every year. So even though there feels like there's 100 guides on that lake, there's more stripers. The guides can't pull out new stripers. Mm-hmm. So anyhow, I'm out there. There's ghost minnows there, right? And there's other random minnows. So I go out and I just hang out my light. And me and my buddy, well, he's not my buddy, he's my brother-in-law. You guys seen him before in the crappie videos, all this other stuff. He kind of hangs out with us a lot. His name is Coley, a.k.a. Captain Hook. He might be on it right now. I don't know. Captain Hook, if you're here, let me know in the comments, So anyways, Captain Hook is fishing with me, and he's throwing out like chicken livers or whatever it is. Don't throw chicken livers and stripers. It might work once in a blue moon, but for the most part, it won't work. Okay, so So, anyways, I hang the light down there, the light, right? And I started noticing there's a bunch of minnows down there now. We go from like 5 minnows to like 10 minnows. And then I swear it was like 30 minnows, right? And then out of the corner of my eye, I see a striper come into the light and exit. And I was just like, wait, double take, right? Like, did that just happen? Like, really? So now I'm just staring down my light, and I see another striper just come in from like far left. It comes in like quick, like on a mission, hits a minnow, and then it's gone. All that happens in like a half a second. I tell Captain Hook, he's like, nah, man, stop joking around, you know? I'm like, no, I'm not joking around. And that's when like the stripers start to hit. Like, they hit at night. They came to the light. So before I started seeing minnows, I was just throwing like a square bill. I didn't know what I was doing, so I was throwing a little square bill, and Captain Hook was throwing chicken livers. And then he switched to spinnerbait, and I just did a little square bill the whole time. But we killed it that night. Catch and release like you wouldn't believe. I probably personally caught like 30 stripers in the next 4 hours. Like the boat didn't move, the light didn't move, everything was just staying stationary. Captain Hook only caught like maybe 10. I caught like 30 bass, but he caught some bigger ones just because stupid spinnerbait catches bigger fish than square bills. And it was so crazy with the light that there was moments in time where there was so many like little bait, and then there's shad. So there's shad on that lake too. I think there's also gizzard shad on that lake too. And gizzards were jumping around this light because they were getting ambushed by a striper. And there's a couple gizzards that fell into our boat. Like they jumped so high in the air, it fell into our boat. We had a gizzard hit Captain, like jump over the boat, hit Captain Hook in the face, and fell out to the side. So he still remembers that. And then it was just crazy, man. It was just a crazy trip. So lights at night, if you can do it, if it's legal in your state, I don't know if it's legal in every state. Our state, they don't care. But if you can do it during the summertime, June, I think it was it Memorial Weekend in June? I think it was Memorial Weekend. Yeah.
Weekends in May.
Or May, yeah. That's probably when we went. So that was when that event happened. It was ridiculous. If I ever go back out there, I'm doing that again. That's all I know. They tear up fast, yeah. Tang, Kitex. We should probably substitute those with like some other brand, with some Strike Kings or something. But a tip for you guys: if you're actually using Kitex, super glue the heads. When you put them in, just super glue it. It'll last a little longer. Otherwise, Kitex, they tear up quick. But Kitex is like one of those brands where it's it's almost like a guaranteed getter. So you trade more bites for more fish, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But if
and
fish
it works in cold water better.
Yeah, it's way better in cold water.
Yeah, the bait moves just perfect. In the summertime it gets too hot, and then the bait, these kite type, they are really soft in the summertime, and they tend to rip faster than a Cinco.
Yep. Yeah, Craig Stevens was saying, man, you guys give out the real deal. Yeah, we do. We're not really sponsored by anybody, so we're just here to spread the word, I guess. And that's about it, Need to get some of those hats. Yeah, if you want, so we do have a couple hats left. If you want one of these hats, just message us on Facebook. We'll get in touch with you. I'll get in touch with you. All you gotta do is send $35 our way. That's including shipping, and we'll drop one off. But I think we only have about 2 or 3 left, so we'll probably have to look at that again. Rhino Joe Outdoors. Hey, 34 guys online. Yeah, this is like a pretty good event. Everybody wants to learn about stripers.
Tim, we don't really use light bait. The only time we do is if we want shad or trout. Mm-hmm. Like if we are pursuing a certain species, and we're like, oh, we gotta go use light bait. Then we get light bait.
Yeah.
Other than that, maybe minnows or crappie are the only light bait we use.
Mm-hmm. That's all I'm talking about. So when you're talking lures, right? That's an 8-inch piece of hunk of metal. This is not even 8-inch, right? Yeah, hold up. This is not even an 8-inch, right? But the trout we catch, the trout our buddies catch, our friends catch, and then they throw them back out. in these striper infested rivers, they're way bigger than 8.
Like 10, 12
Yeah,
inches.
10, 12 inches. So this, if you're afraid of this, wait until you see the video of me freaking dropping off a 14-inch trout. And then it gets smoked by like a 30-inch striper. And then you're going to be like, damn, my baits are too small. And you're going to be like, yeah. Yeah. So we're definitely doing that this year. That's in the works. We don't know exactly when, but we got to do the infamous trout first striper. So if we're going to do, if we ever do live bait, it's got to be something of that caliber. I don't want to do the whole shad thing. The shad thing where you drop it down on them. I feel like if they'll bite that, I can force them to bite this. You know, I can force them to bite that. And it's way more fun doing this anyways.
So what will you use for keystone below the dam this month? We go out, if we're on a kayak, we'd like to throw these little jerk baits.
Yeah.
Water has to be off for like a day and a half, 2 days though, for the jerk bait to be really work.
Yeah.
That spinnerbait we were talking about.
Right. So
This guy was at Keystone. Mm-hmm. We're great as Keystone.
Yeah. So if you're thinking water clarity, because I know some guys watching this are from like other states and they don't even know what dirty water is. Like their dirtiest water they've ever seen is probably 4-foot visibility. I mean, like if you go to like Minnesota, they don't have mud puddles like we do. You know, if you go to Table Rock, which is where Mo Swimbait is from, kind of Table Rock, Ozarks area, they fairly got clear water, right?
Maybe like I heard Truman was dirty.
Yeah, maybe Truman's a little bit dirty, but you come to Oklahoma, majority of our lakes are dirty. You might have one. Lower Illinois is clear, right? That's the only river that's basically clear.
Yeah, the Illinois river is clear. All right.
That's about it.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, your Verdigris River, your Arkansas River, your Caney River, it's all a mud hole, you know? So for the most part, if you're going to throw like a visual bait, kind of like even this, like I would even put this kind of in the visual baits category, you kind of want that at least 3 foot of visibility.
Yeah, it just helps you because your striper, they're sight feeders.
Yeah.
And they feed in a pack, so if your bait, I mean, if they can see your bait, they'll come for it.
Yeah.
Instead of like
say a chatterbait, when you reel this through the water, this little blade is just going like almost like that the whole time, like the whole time. And you can hear it. You can hear it from like 10 feet away, 20 feet away if you think about it. So for the guys that are just coming into stripers, just kind of think about it like that. A lot of times the water clarity does dictate what we do throw. When it comes to top waters, you know, so if it's clear. You want to work it real fast because you don't want the striper to see very well. But if it's muddy to stain, then you kind of you still want to work it fast, but you're not reeling the reel fast. If you guys know what I'm talking about,
we're trying to walk it.
Yeah, you're walking it in place. So if it's clear water, it's like gone, right? But if it's muddy, it's like that, right? So retrieval speed is what you're working with. Like you gotta give the fish time to see it and come and investigate and bite it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Chocolate milk for days. In Oklahoma, if it rains for 30 minutes, we got chocolate milk for weeks. Not days, weeks.
So it's weird. Like the east part of the state has like clay dirt.
Yeah.
And then
Panhandle is all red.
So like the middle towards the panhandle is red dirt.
Yeah.
So if you go too far west, you get red dirt, and then your lake is like blood red.
Yeah. And the other reason why we're getting better and better at this pick and bait stuff is there's a little lake that we love fishing for bass, right? But it's about an hour away, and we never know what this lake's gonna do. It's a vegetation lake. And if you get there in the right moments, it's the cleanest, clearest lake. But there's also, right after a rainstorm, you can get there and your visibility is like this. And it's red. And it's like as red as you've ever seen it. And once you're already there, you're like a 2-hour drive to get there. So you have to fish it. You have to like figure something out. So we get pretty good with vibrations versus speed versus sight, things like that. What is y'all's professions? I do a lot of electronic tech stuff and use a auto body technician. He actually makes a lot more money than I do. Yeah, believe it or not.
I do collision work.
Collision work. Yeah, so if you have a friend who just needs recommendations on paint, little things like that, I want to talk to this guy. All right, let's see. 35 people still. It's pretty good. All right, so we have to the reason why we're doing more striper stuff this year is just because I feel like in the kayak world I've accomplished enough already to keep myself happy. I've already scratched my competition itch enough to the point where I think I could go a couple years without ever fishing a kayak tournament. Although we are gonna nitpick a couple, like Sky Chick, we're probably gonna fish. We're probably gonna fish the opens again. The Broken Bow event is still 50-50. And somehow try to make it back to the championship. So those are probably 4 events we still want to fish. But other than that, I feel like majority of the guys who are watching our channel, they want to see stripers. And honestly, I've missed the world of stripers. Because when we tournament fish, we don't get to enjoy the fight of the fish, right? Like you imagine when you set the hook on a frog or frogfish in the lily pads. How long will that take you to bring that fish in? Even if it's a 5 or 6 pounder, which is a really good bass, I'm thinking 10 seconds.
20 seconds, maybe.
Yeah.
If he gets stuck.
If he gets stuck in the grass and you got to pull the entire vegetable pile over you, that's 20, 30 seconds. But if you set the hook on him, you get him floating on the surface, it's 10 seconds. He gets in the boat. The fish is
you
still.
Don't want to fight the fish.
You don't want to fight the fish, exactly. So the more you fight the fish, the more you're going to lose money in the tournament. So you don't fight the fish. And it's a totally different feeling, but I miss that a lot. The feeling of your line's going to break or he's going to spool you. You don't get that feeling at all in the world of bass fishing. Mm-hmm. So the main reason is we fish oversized hooks. We fish a lot of oversized lines. Our rods are super stiff. I mean, you're talking a 5-6 pound bass, and I'm on 80-pound braid when I'm throwing a frog. So that's just part of that game, right? But in the world of stripers, 20-pound braid on a surf rod in open water is plenty. It's plenty. Right? Especially if you want to cast far and everything like that. Man, you caught 2 35-pounders on a kayak and still trying to break my 50-pound 4-ounce PB from the kayak. You caught a 50-pound striper? We gotta go camping. You gotta tell us those stories. Yeah, but I don't even remember how heavy mine was. I know it was a 40 incher, but it was saltwater fish. It was so long ago, I don't know, 20.
Something I can't turn.
Oh yeah. So see, those are the stories too. Okay, so I've in the world of fishing, right? Bass fishing, I've only hooked one bass. I for sure it was a bass too. That still gives me nightmares to this day. I'll tell you that story. On a lake, it's a trophy lake, so there's big bass there, right? The slot limit is 16 to 21. You can't keep something like that. Mm-hmm. Oh no, Kiva.
22.
Yeah, 22. So there's a stack of them in there, right? And it's early season, early pre-spawn season. I'm out there and there's some beds already, so I'm just kind of flipping this area. It's not the best spot, right? Because there's bass on the best spot, right? So I'm just kind of I'm just gonna go fiddle fart over here for a little bit and then wait for that boat to move, and then I'll go ahead and catch something. So I'm just kind of flipping a white swim jig around the grass, nothing, and then all of a sudden I hear this little tick, right? And that's the thing about the big fish is they don't always smoke it like a striper, so you don't always know what you're getting yourself into. So I just kind of half-ass set this hook, and this thing takes off into open water, and I'm on 30-pound braid. It cuts through about 4 feet of grass, and it just takes off. I never get the hook in a fish, and to this day I'm still kind of I felt the weight of the fish. The weight is big. It felt like a striper, a 15-pound striper, kind of that category of striper, right? I never saw it. It never surfaced. It didn't do anything. So that's the only time that I was all right, I wish I got that bite back because I was set to the moon to see that fish. So I fished for about 5 years, right, in the world of competitive kayak fishing, stuff like that. There was only one of those moments. When you talk striper, I've got more than 5. Yeah, like I've got more than 5. I tell you what, this is my story where we were still, we know what we were doing. This is up in New England, saltwater, right? On this cliff, we're fishing for scups and tautons, right? That's basically what we do. But we always try to bring extra rods, and we get out there and we got these river herrings, right? And yeah, they're like 15-inch river herrings, and I just chucked one on. It was frozen. I threw it out there, right? And we're all fishing. So I stick this. It's actually my dad's rod. It's like a 7.5 foot, or it's 8 foot. It's probably 8 foot. 8 foot, yeah, 8.5 foot with 30-pound big game on it, with a 4-ounce weight that slides, right? I chuck it out there and I stick it into this crack in this rock, right? And then we all go to fishing and just kind of wait until this gets bit. So I got the drag set fairly loose on it, so it doesn't break the rod. Okay, so it won't break the rod. So we're fishing, and then I just hear the drag start screaming, right? And I go onto it, and I set the hook, and I completely missed it because the big hook kind of went back and hooked the herring. It rehooked the herring, and didn't hook the big fish. So I was kind of pissed. So I chucked that bait out, threw another one on it, threw it out there, and not even 15 minutes later, this thing takes off again, and I go and I pick it up, and I just hold it, right? I'm holding this rod, and the spool is real loose at this point, so I'm just palming this thing. And tell you what, my dad's spool, I just spooled it the night before. It was a full spool, so I'm thinking 200 yards, a 30-pound braid, a 30-pound mono, right? So I'm holding it. I set the hook hard, and I know I got him, right? And I hold the spool with I kind of palm it, right? Because that's the other way, because we don't have good drags, so you can palm it, and it'll act like a good drag system. So I'm just holding it, and holding this thing the whole time. And this fish is huge. It's just pulling and pulling and pulling, and it's not even stopping.
And the rod is like this.
Yeah, the rod is about to break, and I'm just holding this thing like I've never felt this before. Like, what the heck is this? And don't get me wrong, it's not a shark or nothing like that, because that earlier that day, by doing that, we already caught a 33-inch striper doing that. So when we do this, for the most part, it's all stripers, right? So this thing, I'm holding on to this reel, and I don't even know what to do. I'm just kind of like, whatever this fish is, it's a totally different class of fish. So I'm holding it, and it just keeps pulling. Every time I palm the reel, it feels like the rod's gonna break, so I just let it go again. I'm just doing that like every minute. It feels like, and before I know it, I'm looking down at my reel, and it's like beyond halfway. And I'm just like, holy shit! Some gotta go. You gotta do something. So that's when I was just like, we gotta give them a lot of attention. So I put them on like the lockdown, and it just started to slow down. Like it probably pulled out 75 yards, and it started to slow down and started cranking them a little bit, and then it just got stuck in the rocks. I don't know what happened after that, but that was the bite that, in my lifetime of fishing, that was probably the 50-pound striper that I never got. That was probably the 50-pound striper I never got. It broke me off in the rocks.
And yeah, those saltwater striper fights like 3 times harder than the.
And the saltwater fish, like a 28-inch striper in freshwater fights like an 18-inch striper in the ocean, right? Like a 28-inch striper in the ocean fights like a 36 in the freshwater. So it's a totally different beast.
Yeah, they don't. That saltwater carries more oxygen, so they don't get tired quick too.
And I feel like the saltwater fish, they're always exercising, so they're always like fit fish, compared to our freshwater, which are like all couch potatoes. They have the initial burst, and that's about it, But that was one of the craziest fish I've ever had on. There's that one. There's a couple of them down in this little river that we used to fish in Watertown, where you hook a fish. It basically takes off downstream. It's a small little river. It takes off downstream, and it just completely destroys all your hooks. And you got like 4 hooks in this guy too, and it completely destroys all your hooks. And you bring the lure back, and you're just like, you get that Iron Man moment, like, what the hell just happened? So a couple of those trips. Yeah, so those are just the ones I can remember right off my memories. But.
Because I remember some of those like if the fish turns, you have a chance.
Yeah,
because in that little river, the river turns at like maybe 80 yards. It starts to turn to the right.
bend to the right.
So if you're just casting it like maybe 40 feet in front of us, right?
Yeah.
As soon as you hook one, it will just the big one just takes off and ride the current. So if you could turn it, then you have a chance. But all the like 33
everything
inches,
under 38 inches,
like 40 inches,
easy, yeah.
like they will turn. But there's some that you hook, and you just hear they go, and then like they go down where the river turns, and it's done. They just never come back.
They never give you a chance. Like, they just do not give you a chance.
I mean, my uncle was on 65-pound braid, and he didn't turn. They
break freaking 65 braid.
Yeah,
either that or you get these bombers. Look at the bomber.
Oh, this one doesn't have hooks though. I changed.
Well, that's a perfect example, right? So even these bombers, you know how much weight, how much force it takes to pull one of these rings out. Like one of these rings right here, right? Not the old ring, but the actual like anchor. Mm-hmm. You know how much weight it takes to pull that out. We've lost anchors off of these exact lures. Lost bottom pieces, lost center ones, and losses. I've got ones where it pulls out of the nose, right? You go fishing, and then you're on that 60 braid. You know that line's not gonna break, so something on the lure has to break, and the lure does break. You don't get that like mystery like monster fish on the bass.
Yeah, that's why in the saltwater world they do line through lures. Yeah. So there's a wire that runs through the whole bait, like the GT minnow. The wire starts here, right? It goes down here and then makes a loop like that, and goes back up to the center, and then all the way to the back, and then makes this loop. So there's no weakness in this whole lure. Like these are not anchored; they're not gonna come out. In the saltwater world, they have that.
And those are giant hooks too. Giant saltwater hooks.
I mean, those regular bombers, those saltwater bombers, they come with like just one size 1/0, I think, or just size 1. I mean, we upgrade them to like 1/0, so they swim right, and you still win them out.
But then like, most of those fishing is done at night. Like most of that stuff is done at night. Except the first example I gave you, that was like 9 o'clock in the day, but. Most of the fishing's at night, and at night it's a totally different feeling too. For the guys that fish, like say, bass tournaments at night, you guys know it's a totally different feeling. You actually don't see where you're casting to. You just you throw it really close and stuff like that. And before you know, when they bite, and then when a striper bites at night, especially a big one, you're just reeling it, and all of a sudden it's like you're hung up on a tree trunk. You don't even feel it like. Hit like those are like 30 inches and lower. You just start reeling off and it just goes takes off. And you're just holding on for dear life. But they're real big ones, you're just kind of reeling it, and then you just feel the
whole rod just shakes.
Yeah, just shakes, and you don't even. It doesn't even run. Like it just sits there, and then you're just like, oh shit, it's my time, and you just lean as hard as you can, and as soon as you do that, it pulls right back, and it pulls back hard.
Yeah, you don't have your drag set right.
You gotta have your drag set right.
Something's gonna break.
Something's gonna break.
And that's your line, your reel, your rod.
Yeah, your stuff, your hooks should be sharp. Your knots should be trusty. Everything needs to line up, right? So, yep, it's an adrenaline rush, man. Especially at night, like I said. If you go out and you catch 5 of these at night. Oh, the other thing is, stripers are excellent eating fish. I don't know why, like. That's the one thing about the bass world that we didn't understand. Nobody ever eats anything, Stripers, if you want to, just say if you want to. Stripers are really good. White meat, it's really good. It doesn't really matter the size. So if it's under 24, the fillets are excellent, right? Plenty of meat on it. Plenty excellent. But once it goes beyond 24, the meat gets a little tougher. It's just not as good. But for all the Asian guys, the Asian gals out there, you guys know what I'm talking about. The head and the tail finally get enough meat on them so you can make some good soup. Good soup, good steam stuff out. It's excellent. Like that 36-inch striper, that whole head becomes soup. It's so good. See, somebody use them. Yeah. coming up on a minute. Like I said, we're only gonna do a minute, an hour. I mean, coming up an hour, so we're gonna do it for another like 30 minutes, and then that's about it. So, shout us questions, whatever you guys want to do. You guys want to know more about baits, lakes, whatever.
Chris asked where we were from, way up there. We are from the North Tulsa area, like OOW and Owasso, and Tulsa now, because 47's in Jinx now, pretty much.
One of our brothers moved down to Jinx. He's like
30, 40 minutes.
That's why he's not on this live video, because he's too far away.
But anyways, he said that he has good luck with Rapala rattle traps for striper on OOW Lake, like the white bass and striper.
White bass and striper.
Yeah, the strippers actually.
Strippers. Man, get your spelling done right, sir.
But yeah,
your wife's gonna hate you.
On OOW, they're awesome. Man, you should try this little gay blades out.
If you guys haven't tried gay blades, it's just magic.
I mean, on OOW, we fish Sunnyside Ramp with these. Even below the dam, they're great. Yeah. It's just kind of costly. Well, on the lake, man, these were great. Just chuck in and burn it.
Yep. It's one of those like must-haves, like rattle traps. The quarter-ounce rattle traps are excellent if you're just chasing white bass and hybrids. But when you're chasing striper, like when you find a true school of stripers and that's not really mixed with white bass and things like that, then you want to throw the bigger like striper dedicated lures. That's what we have on the table tonight. We're not doing white bass and hybrids, because we'll do that later too. We'll give that a couple weeks. So I'm sure a lot of guys from the north will want to know about that, because your category of baits have to change a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. So. Yep, 1 ounce Castmasters. I got a whole bag of those somewhere. All right, if you guys are into that Castmaster stuff, because I know a lot of guys are on the bank, right? If you see them blitzing 100 yards out, right? If you don't have one of these special topwaters that are loaded, and obviously everything else is not going to even go past like 30 yards, it feels like. You need to cast Castmasters. You need to cast slab spoons. Those are the only things that'll get you out there. Like easily too. Like to cast a topwater over 100 yards, you gotta have some kind of a like balanced raw, line balance. Everything your system has to be really good. And it has to be kind of a high dollar system to throw a topwater that far. But you can have a regular system, like a cheaper system, with small braid, 20-pound braid, and you throw a Castmaster on it. It'll launch it 100 yards easy. I feel like it's easy to get a Castmaster like that for. And you can buy generic ones from eBay and stuff. You can buy like 10 of them for $10. It'd be okay.
Oh, wake bait at night.
It has to work. Wake baits at nights have to work. Like I said, if you guys were here during the last time we went live with striper stuff, the wake bait should work during the summertime, especially during the full moon. If you have clear water, it should work pretty good. Because the stripers are visual. I feel like stripers are more visual feeders than bass. So at night, you kind of need a little bit of light. And if you do, stripers staring up, big, shadow comes by, it should work. Because I throw a big 2.5 square bill at night. It works really good too.
I throw a 8.0 square bill.
Yeah, so big square bills, big vibration. It works really good. So, yeah, striper, not stripper. Yeah, yeah. Tell your wife you're watching a stripper show tonight. See what she thinks about that. She'd be like, "No, you never listen to those guys again."
Thoughts on leaders? Do you guys change things up night versus day, water clear, etc.? Not really, because I kind of look for anything that works, but the reason why we stumbled across leaders back in the day was because I was throwing one of those bombers and I hooked a big one.
Nightmare story again.
Nightmare story, right? Okay. So we were at Center Lake in the middle of February.
Yeah, it was like snowing.
Yeah, like with I think it was like February 17th or something like that. It was really cool. And the discharge was still running hot water, but that day they turned the hot water off, So at that night, the water temp was probably like 55 or 60. And it was like perfect. Like the moon is like half full and it was already high in the sky. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Or like 9:30 to 11. Between that time.
It was the perfect time.
So we go out there. I'm on a 13-foot surf rod throwing that bomber, like I showed you, and I hook on one. And this fish, like, as soon as I hooked on it, she, like, took off with the current. And she's not turning. And my rod is just, like, about to break.
It was a 13-foot rod, too.
And I'm on 30-pound Power Pro, just regular Power Pro. And she's, like, screaming, like, just taking drag, screaming, everything. And then my buddy's like, dude, don't let it run so much. Right? I'm like, dude, I can't do anything. This fish is just gonna keep on going. Mm-hmm. And then the year before that, one of my buddies said that he got spooled out there on a Topwater in May or something. So I'm like, am I gonna get spooled tonight? You know? So I'm like worried. And then I could finally turn this fish. Like she finally turned after like maybe 75, 80 yards, and now she's coming up current. So I'm like trying to keep up, and I'm hardly feeling this fish because I think she got off. Yeah. So she comes all the way up past me and runs towards the discharge. And now my spool's taking off again. So I'm just letting her run. And all I hear is these giant head shakes and head shakes and head shakes. And then all of a sudden my line just went limp. So I'm like, man, what happened? So everything, you know, you probably be pale in the face because all your blood already rushed off your face.
Yeah.
And then
like, F my life.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the next cast, right? Same thing. I ran back, tied on another bomber, same cast again, hook one up, big one again. And this one, she's taking line 2. So I'm like, it's gonna repeat, you know. Yeah. It's just gonna repeat. And then my buddy's like, all right, don't let it run this more. Don't let it run more. So I'm like, all right. So what do we do? I took my hand and I cupped the spool and kind of like tapped the spool, so gives it more attention. And this fish surfaced. So I'm like, all right. So this fish surfaced, I could get her in. So I started pulling her in, and this one, she's like trying to go back down, but I'm pulling her up, and then I got her in, and she was like 40 inches, and like 23 pounds or something like that. I mean, this one hit similar, same style, running everything. Is the only thing different is this one I could turn, I could control. Yeah. And so that day I come home, even though after I caught that 40 incher, I'm like,
not satisfied, man.
How did I lose the big one, right?
Seems like what happened?
How did I lose the big one? So at that time, like YouTube doesn't have anything that teaches you. Yep. So internet was like barely there. So I'm like Google searching like how to fish with strappers in like New York or Montauk, right? So, if you're big into strapper fishing, the guy named, they call it Crazy Alberto.
Alberto.
Yeah, so Alberto is the guy that holds the world record for the biggest striper, and he ties leader. Yeah. So the reason they tie the leader is they'll run like a 65-pound braided main line to a 100-pound or 80 to 100-pound main leader line, like a 4 or mono line, and they'll tie like maybe like 20 foot of that leader line. So like when they hook up on these giant like 60, 70, like 60-pound saltwater striper, these big fish, they're smart, so they dive into the rocks and they like rub against these rocks.
They've been hooked before.
Yeah, because these big stripers are smart, so they rub against these rocks and then they try to break the line off somehow. Mm-hmm. Either that or they head shake and then their gill plate on the side there's really
a razor
sharp
blade right here.
Yeah, it will cut your braided line. So I'm like, well, no, it all makes sense. That's how I lost my fish. Because all those giant head shakes, you know how when a fish runs away and she head shakes, you could tell like she's head shaking. Yeah. So I'm like, now I got to tie leader. So since that day, I've been tying leader since.
Yep. Yeah. And learn how to tie your knots really well because they also will let you down from time to time.
So,
side note, Crazy Alberto, if you don't know who he is, you probably know his products. He makes the tactical angler spin.
Yeah.
So very popular.
Yeah. So leader line, it doesn't matter because those saltwater guys, they run big leaders day or night. Your striper don't really care. I mean, you throw straight braid, they'll hit it. I mean, my cousin throws straight braid 50 and they hit it, and like my brother and them, they throw straight braid and they hit it too. But it's just you're just taking that risk of, is it gonna break off or is the fish gonna cut it somehow? You know. So that leader does matter, but it doesn't really matter. The only reason why it really matters is just for abrasive resistance against that rock or that gill plate. And run something big. I mean, if you're on 30-pound main line, just run something equivalent, like 20 or 30. I mean, I run 30 or 50 most of the time. And when I don't have anything, I run 20 or 25
You don't even have to run the expensive like Sunline fluorocarbon. I mean, you for the most part, 95% of the times you run Berkeley big game.
Yeah,
that's good enough.
And you never run out. I mean, you
get one spool. It's like $10 for 600 yards.
Yeah,
so you're good for a year
or a couple of years.
As long as it's not in the sun all the
time. Water clarity. If you just worry about water clarity on your leader line, just go to a fluoro.
Yeah.
Just do 25-pound fluoro. That's good enough.
Uh-huh.
As long as you're not like really horsing. I mean, like horsing as in like as soon as you catch this fish, you're just something gotta give, and the fish has to come in. You know, like you're not gonna like how they fish with GT. As soon as they catch one, they're just pumping it in. Yeah. They're not gonna let the fish
I've seen that. I've actually seen that happen too. When you're side note, big fish story, crazy story, but not really big fish. But when we went up to Cape Cod, right? I don't know if you have the long time followers, you would have known that. Was it 4 years ago? 4 years ago, we went back to Cape Cod to try to catch, the personal best striper up there, and we hit it the wrong time, basically. It was a swing and miss basically the whole trip. But we were there one night, and the locals. These are the local sticks. Okay, these are the, I guess you'd say, the best of the best on the canal, and they were fishing the striper like people fish tuna off the cliffs. They'll throw a 5-ounce jig head out there, basically with a swim bait on it, and they'll drift the canal. And when they get bit, there is no drag to be used. Okay, so they got these rods. They're like $700 rods that are built. They actually dubbed it the Canal Special, right? So I think it's from the company Black Hole, very very popular brand up there, but nobody knows about it everywhere else. But they got I think it's like an 8-foot rod. It's ridiculously heavy action, and then they got a Shimano Stella 14,000 size or whatever it was. It was a big reel. So when they get it, the guy was like pumping it like there was like $1,000 at the end of the line. Like
they fight it harder than tuna.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. Like this is the first time I've ever seen anybody do that, and it wasn't even that big of a fish. It was like a 34-inch striper, like for the canal. That's like for the canal that time of year. That's a small fish. Like an average fish that time of year was like a 40-inch striper, and a good fish would be like a 52-inch striper. So that's for that 33. I just saw it. I was standing there kind of watching everybody fish, and I saw him set the hook, and then I see a 33-inch striper skip across the surface. Okay, that's no joke.
Like a crappie.
Like a crappie. Like no joke. Like 33-inch striper skip across one. I was like, damn, these boys didn't play it.
Yeah, I mean, it gets crazy when they have a backup reel and a backup pole.
Yeah.
And then they have a main pole.
Yeah. So they got like one setup. They're both identical, right? So they got one setup that they're currently using, and while the other setup is going in for service. So the rods, they send them in for service. There's a long lifetime warranty on, so they always send them in every time one of the guides starts to move or crack guides or handle starts to mess up. And the Stellas and the Sotegas, those are always in and out of the official shops. So that kind of answers one of the questions too. Is like, do you want to buy equipment from Japan? And I'll be honest, at the time, if you look at the Japanese websites, they got some Gucci stuff on there. I'm talking like some pretty stuff. It makes you want to buy it, right? But the downside is if you actually use those reels to their potential that they're designed for, something's gonna like wobble, something's gonna give up early, and you're gonna have to send it in for warranty while it's still in warranty. But if you buy a reel from Japan, the American warranty services will not warranty it. I think they'll take it in if you want to pay for the service, but they won't warranty it. They won't do it under warranty. So, like some of the guys were saying, like you can buy a Japanese Sotiga, and this is an American Sotiga or Sotiga. But if you bought it from Japan, they won't honor the warranty here. You can probably argue it, fight it, and then they'll probably do it, but it won't be reel comes in, needs warranty, sends it back. It won't be that easy. So just kind of keep that in mind if you ever want to do that, because we do have some friends that do have Japanese reels. I got a Japanese reel, but I never sent it in for service. And I know some guys that have bought those expensive from the world of Daiwa, especially stripers. The world of Japan, there's this fish over there that looks like a striper, but with no stripes. I forgot what it's called. That's like Labrax. The Labrax is probably the rod, but there's a fish over there. They actually have a rod.
It looks like a snook.
Yeah, it's more like a snook than it is a striper, right? But it's pretty good in size too. It goes up to like maybe 35 inches, something like that. So they do have a Daiwa specifically. I don't know about Shimano. I'm sure they got one too. But Daiwa has a specific rod for that fish. And I was like that close to buying that rod because one, don't get me wrong, it's like a $600 rod, right? But it's super light. Supposedly it's like a 9-foot rod or something, but everything is carbon fiber. Everything. Like the AGS system's on it. But if everything ever breaks, you have to send it back to Japan to get warranty. And good luck trying to call somebody on the phone in Japan and be like, hey, how do I send this back? What address do I send it to? Or can you just send me the parts? I'll just pay for it. Even that's going to be hard, You call up Daiwa USA and they'd be like, what? Why would you do that? Why would you buy a rod from Japan? So just know what you get yourself into before you buy something like that. All right. Let's see. Coming up on 1 hour, 20 minutes. About 10 minutes left, and then we'll try and close it out. So, any questions, guys? It doesn't even have to be striper at this point, since we're down to like the last 10 minutes. So, we covered. I did a video about kayaks and john boats. So, if you guys haven't seen that, go watch that. I put a lot of good footage in there too. A lot of footage that didn't show up anywhere else. A lot of that secret footage that pretty much will never make it to its own dedicated video. But I kind of snuck a couple of gems in there. So you got a little bit of Texoma footage in there. You got a little bit of just John Boat stuff. Uchi's in there. I think Spavinol made a little appearance. Because some guy, I found who was doing JJ. His name was JJ. He was asking like, where is this place? I was just like, Oklahoma, because it's all over. We've pretty much fished all over the state. The footage is from at least a couple years, 5-6 years back too. So it's not all last year. A lot of it was last year, but some of those gem pieces, the piece where like that 6-pound bass hit me right at the kayak, that was a while back, 4 years back. But little things like that. Let's see. A good bait caster for a 9-foot steelhead rod?
You're talking about big fish, so you gotta look into the bigger stuff. Probably the Swimbait reels.
At least a 200 size, put it that way.
Yeah.
All your bass bait casters. Daiwa tattoo a 200 size, 300 size, 400 size. Depends on if you're really chasing stripers with big line, probably that 400. Because I got a 300. I thought it was a little on the small side. I honestly thought it was on the small side.
But if you're in a boat, you can chase it down.
Yeah. You're in a boat, it might be.
But those baitcaster has a lot of power. You just want something that's beefy. The thing about the baitcaster world is mainly everything is built for like bass. So in the American market, if you're looking at like Japanese market, they build just try to get a saltwater one because anything saltwater is everything's beefier. I mean the reel is gonna be heavier,
It's
but
heavier, but
it's heavy duty.
Yeah, that should be okay too.
Yeah, then it's gonna cost you about that $250 range.
Yeah, $200-300.
Yeah, because it's not gonna be a cheap reel.
Yeah, so look towards especially baitcasters, Daiwa mag seals probably a feature you want on that reel. If you're gonna do a lot of like striper stuff, especially if you're close to saltwater. Mag seal is a pretty cool technology. All of our reels that have mag seal on, we've never oiled them, and we don't beat them too bad, so they're still actually really good. Except for one guy. One guy had us on taking that was beaten so bad he tried to oil it one time with just regular oil, and it got worse. So if you got one of those specials, send it back.
The A rig coming along, I just got some new materials coming in.
Yeah.
So I'll be making some here shortly.
Yeah, keep an eye on the Facebook page. When we drop the next batch, we'll drop a little short video. Because there's another guy, he's bought one before. He wants another one out in Kansas. Mark D. You know Mark D. Yeah, Mark wants another one. So
yeah, because I just got my. It's so hard to find leader line now on anywhere, like on eBay or Amazon. So I found two the other day, and I was gonna buy one. And I was like, you know what? I gotta buy both of them because I don't know if they're gonna be back in stock. So I bought two of them. So I drop an arm and a leg. Buying
pretty
materials.
And don't get me wrong, we were selling it for pretty cheap. If it was, see, there's like an actual professional shop building this thing, it'll probably go $50-$60 easy, because it's super unique too. And everyone who sees it, it's always like, oh, that's a pretty cool idea. You know, think about an A-ring, right? It was just like, I thought I have them right here, don't I? Yeah. Right here. Hold on, let me just get them instead of talking about it. That's a dumb.
That's the car.
There. So this is what we're talking about with a clear A-ring, right? So basically, it's a 5-wire. We've built one that was like a 9-wire, a double layer, like not 9 coming here, but another piece like this on the bottom, and then there's an actual bottom one. But basically, what it is it's A-ring, right? But it's clear, and we've minimized all the hardware. So you look at that hardware, it's real small. So that when we were talking, like, it kind of spurred off from the idea of why we never throw A-rings, right? And my idea was always been like, if I was to design an A-ring, I wouldn't do it the way the market has what's available right now, because I don't like the arms. I don't like how everything is very like, it's just too much metal. So for the fish to come up and bite just the little bait that's on here, that fish has got to be pretty dumb, basically, is what my thinking of it was. So I was like, wait, why don't we just, it would be so cool if we could design the A-ring that was clear. And then all these little components, make them high quality, but just make them a lot smaller. And I don't even need the D-ring snap, because I think that's, once again, it kind of messes up the appearance of your little swim bait. So I just want a swivel. Like this, right? All you got is just a swivel. Oh, yeah. All you got is a swivel, and then you got a ring on there. And from the ring, you just put your hook on the ring. So that's it. And yeah, well, here's a great example of it. It's kind of rusty, but see how that looks like that? So when you're pulling it through the water, the bait still has the big overall like appearance. You know, it's not overshadowed by a bunch of metal. And beyond that, you know, there might be just a little piece up here, and then after that, it's all clear. When you drop this in the water, you start reeling it. It's very flexible too. So you know how a lot of people, when they say you throw an A-ring, you want to put a little like twitch in there. That's just to get the metal arms to bend like this. You know, so the school looks more lively, right? But with this, since all the arms are fairly flexible, you actually want to pause it. You want to pause it every single like change in your retrieve, all these arms are now going to bend at a different angle. And on top of that, when one arm hits the rocks, the whole thing just moves. It doesn't hold a fixed like shape. It's all like every arm is different, so it's very flexible, and it's really crazy because until you see it in the water, you're not gonna believe it. But when you do, you're just like, oh.
And the amount of drag that thing like has taken away from the other A rig, it's like throwing that is just probably like throwing one of these, like something big, like a big swim bait or something. The amount of drag that A rig produces is like a big spinnerbait, or just a regular spinnerbait.
Yeah, we thought about a suspending A-ring at one time too, but it really wasn't possible because I actually tried it. It didn't work very well.
Yeah, like he did the weightless A rig, trying to have it hang in the water column the longest.
It just didn't. It just doesn't cast very well because now you're thinking about throwing a. You're literally like throwing an umbrella instead of like a weight. It's like trying to throw tissue paper. It feels like that.
Yeah,
there's no weight on it. If you especially like I have one rigged up. You know how this one just showed you this is weightless, right? I had 4 or 5 weightless ones. I mean, you throw it, it doesn't throw for crap. So I went back to you gotta put at least a 1/4 ounce on the bottom. We gotta put at least a half on the bottom. I really like the half on the bottom, and everything else is still kind of weightless. That way, it sinks a lot slower, and everything else is still fairly weightless, and it's very twitchy too when you know it. Actually cashed me in a couple $100. So yeah, dude, this is pretty good. Fishing out at Chimney Rock, did that. Dropping it. That was the other thing too. You drop this, you see fish in 50 foot of water, you just drop this right on their heads. It actually works pretty good, believe it or not. It's like drop shotting, but it's like a mega drop shot. It should work on Sharper too. Well, wait, it did work, didn't it? Did we go on Skyjack? Did you drop it down there? Yeah, it worked on Skyjack too. White bass. Yeah,
down the white bass.
Yeah, if you guys didn't see that footage, go back maybe 10 videos, and there's a footage where I just barely got on the boat, and there's a bunch of white bass below the boat, and he drops it to him, and he catches it. So that's pretty crazy. So yeah, all right, 3 minutes left. Anything goes now. Let me know because we gotta sign off. We got some family in the house, so we gotta go hang out with little kids. Mm-hmm. What do you buy rods with Topwater Swimbaits?
Have you heard of the Hondo kayak?
No, I've never heard of that. Must be a new company. Yeah, when you're talking kayaks, try to stick to the brand name stuff. Just because if you decide to sell it, it'll still hold its value a lot better. Right?
Yeah. Plus, they're a lot safer if you just invest in a better one to start off with. Yeah. I mean, if you're just gonna go out and pedal and have fun, then
it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter if you get a cheap one because you gotta worry for life jackets and stuff, anyways. But if you're planning to compete or even join some tournaments or go fishing, not even like tournament wise, but just to go fish, you want to be comfortable. You want to be safe, stable. You want to go out in any weather. You want a good one.
Yeah, here's the other thing too. So
and they finance too. Most places finance.
So. Yeah, they should. It's like like a really expensive high-end kayak today, about $4,000, right? Maybe just the Hobie Pro is above 4,000, but majority of the other kayaks that are really good are like 2.5, 3, right? Yeah. All the Old Towns, all the Jacksons that are powered. Mm-hmm. What was that one? I think it's Old Town, right? The one that comes with the motor. That's like 3,500, I think. The one that comes with the spot lock on already. That's actually pretty cool. If I was to do kayak all the way, I'd probably pick one of those. But the thing about that is, we have these weird stories of these people fishing. They have like expensive rods, reels, but yeah, they go real cheap on the kayak, and the kayak flips, and they use everything. So think about that too. It's usually, I would say, just invest in a very stable kayak. Yeah, a lot of good guys coming on. 25 people left. Coming up on 1 hour and 30. So, any last minutes? Last minute questions? We got like a minute left before we sign off.
Pelicans are good for starters. Pelican did make one that has the Mirage Drive from the Hogan patent.
Yeah, buy that one.
Buy that
I think
one.
it's like $1,500.
Yeah.
It's probably the best kind.
That one's very good.
Best bang for the buck. Joe Bus mix of Daiwa or Shimano for baitcasters. Daiwa.
It really depends on what
I
brand
like
you like. But
I like Daiwa.
yeah, we're Daiwa.
When it comes to baitcasters,
I do have Shimano.
I got like a couple of Shimanos, but if you look at that wall there might be like 7 reels. 6 of them are Daiwas.
The spinning we go with Shimano.
Yeah, if it's spinning, then I like the Shimano. Okay, so I don't know what it is, but I own about an equal amount of reels in the beginning, and it just kind of tends to favor one over the other. I feel like certain brands do better jobs in certain things. So when it comes to Daiwa, I like the teaming thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The teaming thing helps a lot. I feel like it helps a lot.
And then the new SV stuff is cool.
All the SV stuff is real cool. Shimano's got that weird like electronic braking. But the thing with electronic braking is like we abuse our stuff a lot. We use it to its potential, and I feel like that electronic shit might not. It might not. Magnet's always going to be there, you know. Spinning reels. I don't know. When it comes to spinning reels, it feels like the Shimano's got it lock them down. I mean, Daiwa's got some real cool technology, real powerful, but I feel like when it comes to the overall performance of the reel and not just like brute force. If you're just talking brute force, I think Daiwa's got it. Okay. But if you're talking overall, I think Shimano's got it. That's just how I feel. I mean, those are just like your like non-extreme. If you're talking super extreme, you're gonna dunk it in the water and everything, then I actually don't recommend Daiwa or Shimano because there's another company called Van Staal. You might want to look into those guys. They have the reels that can be dunked in salt water. And they're billet, which means they are one-piece chunk with a little drill bit going around them, and then somehow the reel shows up. It's pretty legit stuff. But it is pricey too, you know. It is like a $400 or $500 reel at times. But some of the Shimanos and Daiwas are like $700-800 too. They're very competitive.
Expensive too.
Yeah,
they're probably up in the 800s.
Some of the bailless ones. But yeah, but those guys, they actually. Oh yeah, the other thing about the Van Stars that we don't like is they're real heavy. They're like 28, 30 ounces. Where like your comparable Shimano or a Daiwa, you're probably looking 18, 19, 20 ounces. Mm-hmm. So you lose about half a pound, almost a pound. So all right, guys, that's it for tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Lots of cool baits. Just kind of want to just open your mind a little bit into the world of striper fishing, and you guys will definitely see these on deck on the big boat when we go out, or even the kayak when we go out at night. But definitely the big boat. We're kind of planning the big boat, a lot more big boat stuff this year.
Yeah, all boats.
All boats. Yeah, and you'll definitely see. This guy probably won't make an appearance until May, June. Right, this guy is going to make an appearance in April, right? As soon as we go out, yeah. As soon as we go out, right there. As soon as we go out, right there. As soon as we go out, right there, and probably April, another April one
until
till fall, all year till fall. So that's what we got rigged up. Rods and reels, basically. If you're going to chase stripers, a 7-foot medium heavy rod is probably a little on the weak side. You might start thinking 7.4. This is bass terms, right? 7.4 heavy. A 7.4 heavy is probably where you want to be at. It doesn't have to be a flipping stick, but it's just got to be a 7.4 medium heavy. And that's a good place to start. When it comes to reels, the 100 size reels is a little on the small side. At least a 150 size, 200. I feel like a 200 is perfect for all around. If you're chasing real big fish, step into the 300 sizes. When it comes to fishing line, if it's if it's mono or fluorocarbon, start at 20 for everybody. Not even exaggerating. Just say 20. When it comes to braid on your spinning reel, stuff like that, 15 is a good one to start. But I think majority of the guys will be at 20 even 30. So hope that's good enough for everybody. And we're gonna do another. We're doing lives right now a lot because they ain't nothing to do. It's kind of cold. Season's not here yet, and yeah. So Tuesdays are bass days, or generally more generalized discussions. I just did one on Tuesday about how to get into the world of kayaks and things like that. So this coming Tuesday, we're probably going to do another more general question, whether that's bass fishing related or whether that be like just reels in general. Like we can do like spinning reels versus bait casters. Well, let's just do that. That's a good topic. Spinning reels versus bait casters Tuesday night. Catch that one. And then for Thursdays are always reserved for stripers, white bass, or hybrids. So one of those things. What do you want to talk about this Thursday? Striper and white bass related.
You want to bring some of your gear? Could you show them?
Yeah, rod reel setups.
Yeah, backpacks.
Yep.
Boxes,
tackle boxes. We can do that. So let's just say tackle for stripers, right?
I mean, fishing pole, fishing reels.
We can do that. So for you guys that's still here, next Thursday, if you guys want to get in on the action, come back 7:30. We'll just talk about proper tackle for stripers, okay? Because we fish saltwater and we fish freshwater, so we're pretty good with what you should get, okay? All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one. Share the video with everybody who you think might enjoy it, okay? All right.
Thanks, guys.
See you on Tuesday.
See ya.